There is a truth that every person must face sooner or later. Life does not change simply because you wish it would. It changes only when you change. And if today you feel lost, stuck, or as if you are living a life that does not truly belong to you, then stay here. Because a single moment of understanding can redirect an entire journey that lies ahead. So here is the question for you. What is holding you back? And are you ready to step into a different life? If the answer is yes, then let us begin with 10 rules that have the power to change your life forever. Rule 1. Accept reality. Begin with the truth of the life you are living. When a person enters life expecting everything to unfold exactly as they wish, disappointment is inevitable. The world has never revolved around any individual. It operates by its own laws. And the only thing that must change is the way you see it. Accepting reality is not the act of a weak person. On the contrary, it is the courage of someone who dares to face the truth, who knows what can be changed and what lies beyond their control. We have wasted too much energy resisting what is impossible, blaming, complaining, wishing the past could have been different. Yet none of these things improve your life. They only pull you further away from peace. To accept reality means being clear-minded enough to understand that what has happened has happened. Loss has already become loss. Pain has already left its mark on your heart. Continuing to resist only deepens the wound. The wise do not waste time trying to relieve what is gone. They devote their time to mastering the day that lies ahead. When you stop trying to repair the past and begin to care for the present, you take the first steps toward shaping your own future. Acceptance is not surrender. It is a strategic step back of the mind, like stepping away in order to see the entire picture of your life. When you stand too close to pain, all you see is ruin. When you step far enough back, you begin to see the path. Acceptance creates the necessary distance for wisdom to expand, for emotions to settle, for reason to return to the seat of control. Only then can you act correctly, calmly, and wisely. The moment you accept reality, a great weight is lifted from your shoulders. You stop blaming yourself for what was never truly your fault. You stop blaming others for acting according to who they are. You stop expecting the world to operate according to your wishes. And in that moment, you begin to experience a kind of freedom that only mature souls understand. A freedom born from truth. From no longer running away from what is happening. Because only when you stand on the solid ground of truth can you begin to change anything at all. Those who find strength in acceptance no longer panic in the face of adversity. They know that what has occurred cannot be undone. The only thing they can govern is their response. They are calm like clear water. When the wind rises, the surface ripples briefly, then returns to stillness. This is not indifference. It is maturity. Not a refusal of responsibility, but a deep understanding of one's own limits. We often confuse resistance with strength, but the truth is the opposite. Resistance exhausts you, acceptance sharpens you. Resistance places you in conflict with reality, acceptance walks beside it to find a wiser path. Reality is not your enemy. The refusal to accept it is what causes suffering. When you allow yourself to see things exactly as they are, you are no longer bound by illusion. And when illusion falls away, wisdom can finally enter. Accepting reality does not only change your mind. It changes how you live, how you choose, how you face hardship. Those who accept find solutions more easily than those who only complain. Those who accept transform pain, while those who resist remain imprisoned by it. Those who accept live more deeply, because they do not flee from emotion. They look at it, understand it, and move through it. And it is from this point that all real change begins. Because you cannot change what you refuse to acknowledge. When truth becomes your starting point, your life moves in a different direction. Lighter. Clearer. More grounded. Acceptance is the foundation of wisdom, the source of peace, and the doorway to a new journey that you truly deserve to live. Rule 2. Discipline is the key that unlocks true freedom. There is a paradox in life that many people misunderstand. They believe freedom means doing whatever they want, living however they please, indulging without limits. Yet the more they live this way, the more trapped they feel. Time slips away. Life becomes chaotic. The mind can no longer rest. People assume freedom comes from indulgence. But every great sage has understood an unchanging truth. Freedom only arrives when you cultivate discipline. Because discipline is the only force strong enough to help you master yourself. Discipline is not a chain that binds you. It is a sharp blade that cuts away destructive habits, sweet temptations that slowly ruin you, procrastination, laziness, and self-indulgence. Without discipline, you become a slave to fleeting emotions, passing desires, and impulsive urges. With discipline, you reclaim the role of pilot in your own life. You know where you are going, and you know how to get there. The most frightening thing in life is not knowing what you want. It is knowing exactly what you want, yet lacking the discipline to move toward it. Many people have dreams, but very few build the habits required to turn those dreams into reality. Discipline does not give you immediate results. But it gives you a quiet pride each time you overcome yourself. That pride accumulates day by day. And one day, it transforms your life into a version that even you did not believe possible. Discipline is also how you show respect for your future. Each time you choose what is difficult, you offer your better self a chance to emerge. Each time you choose what is easy, you deny the future you claim to desire. Life does not change through glorious leaps. It changes through small decisions repeated daily. The mornings you force yourself to wake up on time. The hours you sit down to learn a new skill. The moments you say no to temptations that make you weaker. All of these moments combine to create a different person, and a different life. A disciplined person is not perfect. They simply understand that momentary emotions cannot decide long-term direction. They know there are days when they feel exhausted, discouraged, ready to quit. Yet they take one more step anyway. That small step is what separates those who succeed from those who remain stuck. Discipline does not demand constant strength. It only asks that you do not return to who you used to be. When discipline takes root, a new kind of freedom appears. Freedom from the control of negative emotions. Freedom from the fear of failure. Freedom from wasted time. Freedom from the limits you once placed on yourself. True freedom is not doing everything you want. It is knowing what is worth doing, and having the strength to do it. Freedom is not a gift you wait for. It is the result of every time you conquer yourself. Discipline creates inner power. A quiet, steady power that does not seek attention or praise. Those who possess discipline radiate a presence others can feel. A presence of stability, reliability, and direction. The presence of someone who knows exactly where they are heading. And it is this presence that opens the door to a kind of freedom the undisciplined will never touch. Remember this. Discipline is not a burden. It is a gift you give yourself. A gift that requires commitment to open. But once opened, it leads you into a life you once only dared to imagine. True freedom belongs only to those disciplined enough to deserve it. Rule 3. Question yourself, and open the door to truth. There is something that every mature soul understands. You do not change because of answers. You change because of questions. Answers can be found anywhere, in books, in the advice of others, in experiences you have already lived through. But questions can only be asked by you. And it is these questions that open the door for you to see the truths you have long avoided. A question is like a torch in the darkness. Not to frighten you, but to illuminate what has been hidden in the corners of your soul. Human beings often live in a strange condition. They know many things, yet they do not understand themselves. They know they should care for their health, yet they neglect their bodies. They know they should save money, yet they spend emotionally. They know they should keep learning, yet they waste entire days on meaningless distractions. They know they should live with purpose, yet they drift through life like a fallen leaf carried by the wind. This contradiction exists because they have never dared to ask themselves, what do I truly want? Where am I going? Am I living a life that I chose? These questions are not meant to make you blame yourself. They are meant to help you face the truth. Because truth never weakens you. Truth only makes you stronger. When you ask yourself what is making you restless, you begin to see that anxiety does not come from circumstances, but from the way you interpret them. When you ask what is holding you back, you discover that the greatest barrier is not outside you, but inside the beliefs you have unconsciously planted within yourself. And when you ask what you truly desire, you realize that you have been chasing the noise of the world, not the voice of your own heart. Questions are mirrors. They reflect who you are. They reveal strengths you never knew you had. They expose weaknesses that need attention. They remind you of dreams you buried beneath the weight of everyday life. And most importantly, they show you that you are capable of change. Because change does not begin with action. Change begins with awareness. And awareness only opens when you ask the right question. There are no difficult questions. There are only questions you have never dared to ask. We avoid the most important ones because we fear the answers. We fear admitting that we are not living well. We fear accepting that we have wasted time on what did not matter. We fear seeing the limits we have tried to hide from ourselves. But if you do not dare to ask, you will remain trapped in your blind spot. You will repeat the same mistakes. You will never step out of the cycle that keeps your life the same. A wise person is not someone who has all the answers. A wise person is someone who keeps asking the right questions. They ask to understand themselves, to understand others, to understand life. They do not allow the mind to run on autopilot. They do not live like a machine repeating yesterday. They think. They reflect. They dig deeper. And it is this depth that makes them more mature, more calm, and more free than most. When you build the habit of questioning yourself, every event in life becomes a lesson. You no longer ask, why did this happen to me? You ask, what is this trying to teach me? You no longer ask, why is life unfair? You ask, what can I do with what is happening? Questions transform you from a victim into a creator, from someone dragged by life into someone who leads it. One day you will realize that questions do more than show you the right path. They help you become the most honest version of yourself. Because a person who understands themselves is never afraid. Never lost. Always knows what the next step must be. Begin with one question. Who am I in this life? And who do I choose to become in the life that remains? When you dare to ask, life dares to open the way. Rule 4. Let go of what no longer fits, so your life has room to grow. Throughout the human journey, we carry far too much. Too many memories. Too many relationships. Too many responsibilities that were never truly ours. Too many outdated ambitions. Too many unnamed fears. And then we wonder why life feels so heavy, why we cannot move forward. The answer is simple. You cannot walk far when your hands are full. If you want your life to change, you must first let go of what no longer fits. Not because it was meaningless, but because it has already fulfilled its role in your growth. Letting go is never easy. Human beings cling to old habits, to comfort zones, to familiar things, even when those things no longer bring peace. We hold on to worn-out relationships because we fear loneliness. We cling to old dreams even after our hearts have stopped responding to them. We carry old pain long after it has lost its purpose. We hold rigid beliefs about ourselves because we fear facing a version of ourselves we do not yet know. But the truth is this. If you carry everything, there will be no space for anything better to arrive. Letting go is not loss. Letting go is opening. Opening space for what truly belongs to you. Opening a new chapter for life to continue writing. Opening lightness so the mind can breathe. Life cannot give you something new when your hands are filled with the past. And only when you dare to place heavy things down can you walk farther than you ever imagined. Some things you release not because you are weak, but because you are strong enough to understand they no longer fit. Some people you walk away from not because you are cold, but because their presence no longer helps you grow. Some dreams you stop pursuing not because you failed, but because you outgrew them. Growth is not always about adding something new. Sometimes it is about having the courage to remove what has become old. The greatest fear that keeps people from letting go is the fear of emptiness. We fear that without what is familiar, we will have nothing left to hold onto. But what we forget is that emptiness is the beginning of all creation. Soil only gives birth to new life when it is turned. The heart only finds peace when it is cleared of what is toxic. The mind only becomes clear when it is no longer blocked by memories that have expired. Emptiness is not the enemy. It is the cradle of rebirth. Those who dare to let go understand that their value does not lie in what they hold, but in their ability to rise after change. Life is always moving. And you cannot mature if you keep binding yourself to an outdated version of who you were. Letting go is how you honor your own journey. It is like shedding old skin, revealing a version of yourself that is more alive, more flexible, and more real. And then, when you have let go enough, you will realize something profound, something every awakened soul understands. What exhausted you was never life itself. It was what you insisted on holding, even when your heart had wanted to set it down long ago. When your hands open, pain falls away. And light finally enters. And once light enters, the path ahead becomes clear. Remember this. Letting go is not an ending. Letting go is a beginning. The beginning of lightness. The beginning of wisdom. The beginning of the life you truly deserve to live. Rule 5. Remain silent before what is unworthy, and preserve your energy for what truly matters. In this life, not everything deserves your attention. Not every word deserves a response. And not every battle requires your presence. Yet many people live as if they must react to everything, explain everything, and prove themselves in every situation. And as a result, they grow tired, drained, deprived of peace. Simply because they give their voice to things that are not worthy of it. This is why the wise choose silence. Not because they have nothing to say, but because they understand that silence can be more powerful than any explanation. Silence is not weakness. It is a form of strength that only mature souls understand. When you remain silent in the face of insult, you do not lose. You simply refuse to sacrifice your peace for someone else's momentary emotions. When you remain silent before gossip, you are not afraid. You trust that your worth does not live in the mouths of others. When you remain silent before meaningless arguments, you are not avoiding them. You simply recognize that your time is too valuable to spend on what does not improve your life. Human beings often react too quickly. Maturity teaches us that sometimes what is needed most is not another word, but a pause. A pause to observe. A pause to understand. A pause so the mind is not pulled into an emotional storm. A word spoken in anger can destroy a relationship. A reply given in confusion can haunt you for years. But a moment of silence can save you from countless mistakes. Silence is not the loss of your voice. It is the preservation of your right to choose when and how to speak. Silence is also a mirror of inner strength. The more mature a person becomes, the less they feel the need to prove themselves right. They do not argue to win. They do not compete for dominance in conversation. They understand that winning an argument does not make life better, but maintaining inner calm creates a strength nothing can shake. Those who lose their temper easily are often fragile. Those who know when to remain silent are deeply grounded. Silence gives you time. Time for emotions to settle. Time for reason to speak. Time to see the essence of a situation rather than just its surface. When you are silent, you hear more. You hear the movement of life itself. You hear truth beneath the noise. You hear your own voice, the one so easily drowned out when the mind is overwhelmed by the chaos of the outside world. Most importantly, silence protects your energy. Your energy is not unlimited. You cannot afford to waste it on pointless arguments, endless conflicts, or stories that do not belong to you. That energy must be reserved for what truly matters. For the goals you are building. For the people who deserve a place in your life. For the values you wish to carry into the future. When you learn to be silent in the right moments, life becomes noticeably lighter, because nothing meaningless can pull you away anymore. A strong person is not someone who always speaks. It is someone who knows when to speak and when to remain silent. Their silence does not make them smaller. It makes them powerful. It does not invite disrespect. It earns respect. Because silence is a sign of wisdom, of understanding, of calm in the face of turmoil. And that calm creates the space you need to see your path clearly, without being lost in the noise of the world. Remember this. Not everyone who speaks loudly is right. And not everyone who is silent is weak. Sometimes silence is the sharpest answer. Silence is the shield that protects the soul. Silence is how you preserve your essence in a world that constantly provokes anger. And above all, silence is proof that you understand the true value of peace, the very thing the loudest people crave most, yet rarely ever touch.
Rule 6. Simplify the mind, so the soul has space for peace. Modern people are not exhausted by work. They are exhausted by minds filled with what is unnecessary. We carry too many worries, too many expectations, too many comparisons, and endless psychological noise that does not belong to us. The mind is like a room. If you never clean it, it becomes crowded, suffocating, and dark. But when you live with mental simplicity, everything becomes clearer, lighter, and far more peaceful. To simplify the mind does not mean to live less, think less, or feel less. It means knowing what truly matters and what only distracts you. Simplicity is letting go. Letting go of the need for approval. Letting go of the pressure to be better than others. Letting go of the obsession with negative possibilities that have not yet occurred. When the mind is cleared of excess, you realize that peace is not a destination. Peace is the space that appears when you stop carrying so much. An overloaded mind always leads to a disordered life. The more you think, the more you worry. The more you worry, the more you lose yourself. Most worries are not born from reality, but from imagination. You worry about not being good enough, not being loved, not meeting expectations that others place on you. You burden yourself with weight no one ever asked you to carry. But when you simplify the mind, you learn to ask one essential question. Is this truly worth worrying about? And you may be surprised to find that most of what you fear never happens, while what truly matters rarely occupies your thoughts. Mental simplicity also means you stop pursuing too many directions at once. Those who do not simplify chase every opportunity, every goal, every desire, and end up mastering none. But those who simplify understand that when you choose one direction and commit fully, you can go farther than anyone who tries to run in many directions at the same time. The simpler the mind, the stronger the will. The stronger the will, the clearer the path. We must also simplify our relationships. Not everyone who enters your life should remain there. Not every connection needs to be preserved. Some people bring peace. Others make the mind heavier. When you live with simplicity, you do not reject people. You simply keep those who help you grow and release those who pull you backward. This is not selfishness. It is awareness. A simplified mind does not chase what lies beyond its control. It understands that worrying about what cannot be controlled is like tying your own hands with an invisible rope. When you focus on what you can do, you immediately become stronger. When you stop wasting energy on what is unworthy, you immediately become freer. Simplicity does not mean emptiness. Emptiness leads to confusion. Simplicity leads to clarity. A simplified mind has fewer distractions but more space for wisdom to grow. It is like a still lake, undisturbed by wind, able to reflect the sky with ease. Only when the mind is truly calm can you see your own essence clearly. And perhaps the most beautiful truth of all is this: when you simplify the mind, you naturally become rich in life. Not because you have more, but because you need less. Not because you own many things, but because you are no longer dependent on them. Not because life becomes easier, but because each step becomes lighter. Remember this: your mind does not need more in order to find peace. It needs less. Less worry. Less pressure. Less expectation. Less comparison. And when you have reduced enough, peace arrives quietly, like a friend who has been waiting for you all along.
Rule 7. Small actions, done consistently, build profound transformation. Life is not shaped by brilliant moments. It is built from countless quiet actions repeated day after day. People often admire great successes and dramatic turning points, yet easily overlook the small efforts behind them. The truth is this: no one changes their life because of a single moment of determination, but because of hundreds of moments of persistence. Small actions, when practiced consistently, carry a power of transformation that even you may not expect. Human beings tend to underestimate the power of small things. They believe one page of reading does not change knowledge, 1 hour of training does not change the body, one focused work session does not change the future. They wait for great inspiration, strong motivation, a perfect plan before they act. But when you only act once you feel inspired, you will never truly begin. When you begin with the smallest possible action, you gain the ability to go very far. Consistency is the secret of all masters. Those who reach great heights do not do more than others, they simply do something every day. They turn action into habit, habit into character, and character into destiny. That destiny is not created by luck, but by patient repetition no one sees. Each day you do a little, you plant a seed. Each day you continue, you water it. And one day, what once seemed insignificant becomes a forest that reshapes your entire life. Small actions teach an essential lesson. You do not need to be powerful in a single moment. You need to be persistent across many ordinary moments. There will be days when you are tired. Days when you do not want to try even a little more. Days when you want to give up. But if you take just one small action, one more step, one more effort, you have already separated yourself from those who quit. And it is this tiny difference that gradually creates a vast distance between who you were and who you become. Those who lack persistence often live in a cycle of disappointment. They begin intensely, but abandon quickly. They dream big, but act very little. They want their lives to change, but they are unwilling to pay the price of daily consistency. Those who persist understand something different. Perfection matters far less than continuation. You do not need to do much in a single day. You only need to do a little each day. And over time, you become stronger than those who move only when inspiration strikes. Small actions are also how you build trust with yourself. Each time you complete even the smallest task, you send a message to your mind that you are someone who keeps promises. When you keep promises to yourself, you grow stronger. When you break them, you weaken yourself. Consistent action does not only change your life. It changes who you are at your core. Remember this as well. Small things are what last. A habit you can sustain for a lifetime never begins with complexity, it begins with simplicity. A steady step matters more than an ambitious leap. Quiet effort carries more meaning than loud declarations. The wise do not ask how to change quickly. They ask what can be done each day to keep moving forward. And when you look back one day, you will realize that every great achievement was woven from small actions. Actions that once seemed unimportant, unremarkable, unnoticed. Yet they created the person you are today. Life does not change in a single day. But it changes direction the moment you choose to do the smallest thing well. Be persistent. Be consistent. Continue even when no one sees. You are not acting to be witnessed by others. You are acting so that you may grow. And when growth arrives, your life will transform in ways you never imagined. Rule 8. Cultivate gratitude, and awaken healing power from within. Among all the qualities that allow a person to live a peaceful life filled with inner strength, gratitude is one of the most powerful. Not because it makes everything look better, but because it changes the way you see life. A grateful person is not someone with an easy life. They are someone who has discovered the key that opens the door to peace within their own soul. Gratitude does not remove hardship, but it allows you to walk through hardship with greater steadiness. Many people believe gratitude is simply saying thank you when someone helps them. But gratitude goes far deeper than that. Gratitude is a state of awareness. A way of seeing. An attitude toward life. Anyone can be grateful for pleasant things. That is easy. True maturity appears when you are grateful even for what hurts you, because you understand that it is precisely those experiences that shaped you. Gratitude for sunshine is simple. Gratitude for storms is wisdom. Some people constantly feel life is unfair. They compare endlessly. They live with a sense of lack, believing something has been taken from them. But in truth, nothing was taken away. Their mind simply fails to see what is already there. Those without gratitude live in deficiency. Those with gratitude live in abundance, even when they possess very little. What changes is not the circumstance, but the lens through which life is viewed. One of the greatest powers of gratitude is its ability to heal wounds that time alone may never reach. When you feel gratitude for what once wounded you, the wound stops being a burden and becomes a lesson. When you are grateful for those who left, loss no longer feels like suffering, it becomes a doorway to a new journey. When you are grateful for failure, you no longer fear falling, because you understand that every fall moves you closer to the person you are meant to become. Gratitude also allows you to live more fully. When you are grateful for small things, a meal, a quiet morning, a familiar road, someone who genuinely cares for you, life becomes meaningful in every moment. You stop chasing grand displays, because you recognize meaning in simplicity. A grateful person always finds a reason to smile, even on difficult days, because they see light even when darkness surrounds them. Most importantly, gratitude nourishes inner strength. When you are grateful, you complain less. You judge less. You envy less. You grow less angry. The soul becomes lighter, more refined, more profound. You begin to understand that life owes you nothing, yet each day offers you countless gifts to learn, to live, and to grow. A grateful person does not live by luck. They live by awareness. They know that happiness does not come from having more, but from recognizing what is already present. And the remarkable truth is this. When you are grateful for what you have, life often gives you more. Not because of chance, but because you have become someone capable of receiving it. Practice gratitude every day, even for one small thing. When you wake up, be grateful that your body still carries you. When you work, be grateful for the chance to create value. When you face difficulty, be grateful for the lesson it brings. When the day ends, be grateful that you have moved one step further along your path of growth. And you will discover that gratitude does not only heal you, it illuminates your life in a way nothing else can. Gratitude is not merely an emotion. It is a choice. A choice to see light instead of darkness. A choice to focus on what is good rather than what is lacking. A choice to become stronger instead of remaining a victim of circumstance. And from the moment you choose gratitude, you begin to touch the deepest transformative power within yourself. Rule 9. Dare to stand alone, so nothing can shake your essence. There are paths in life that, whether you want to or not, you must walk alone. Not because there is no one beside you, but because some journeys are meant only for a soul that is brave enough. Many people fear loneliness so deeply that they abandon themselves just to belong somewhere. Yet loneliness is not the greatest danger. The greatest danger is trading away your essence just to avoid feeling alone. Mature souls understand that some roads require silence, solitude, and honest confrontation with oneself, because it is in those moments that your true nature is revealed. To dare to stand alone does not mean withdrawing from the world. It means refusing to lose yourself to it. People are constantly pulled by expectations, opinions, and judgments. You try to please others. You chase standards that are not your own. You live according to what society declares to be right. But the more you live this way, the further you drift from your true self. Only when you pause and ask, who am I when no one is watching, who do I wish to become when no one is speaking, do you realize that the journey back to authenticity always begins with standing alone. Standing alone also means stepping away from the crowd. The crowd offers comfort, but it often erodes independent thought. You think like the crowd, choose like the crowd, and sometimes fail like the crowd. A strong soul understands that the crowd does not decide their direction. They are willing to turn onto a different path, even without support, because they know that path aligns with their inner truth. Every great achievement begins with a moment when someone dares to stand alone. When you stand alone, you can finally hear your inner voice. That voice is often drowned out by the noise of external opinions. Others tell you how to live, what to choose, what to abandon. But no one lives your life except you. And if you turn your head toward every opinion, you will lose your way. Only in silence, when no one else is influencing you, do you touch the truth of your soul, a truth that guides you more powerfully than any advice ever could. To stand alone is also a test of courage. Stepping outside your comfort zone exposes you to fear of judgment, misunderstanding, and rejection. But remember this. You were not born to please the world. You were born to become yourself. The more someone fears loneliness, the more easily they compromise with what does not fit, fall into unhealthy relationships, or cling to others to fill an inner void. But when you are strong enough to stand alone, you no longer need anyone to fill that space, because you have become your own world. And here is the paradox. When you dare to stand alone, you attract the right people. Those with strength recognize one another. Those with value gravitate toward one another. Those who are independent respect one another. You no longer need to shrink yourself to belong. Your inner strength naturally creates connections that are honest and lasting. Relationships built not on dependence, but on freedom. Not on fear of loss, but on mutual respect for each other's essence. Standing alone does not make you isolated. It makes you clear. You see what you want, what you need, what you must protect, and what you must release. You understand that the road to maturity is not always crowded, but it is always the most meaningful path. Because it is in solitude that you build confidence, stability, and inner peace. Remember this. You are truly strong only when you can stand firmly even when no one stands beside you. And once you learn how to stand alone, you will never fear losing anyone again. Because you understand that your worth does not depend on the approval of others, but on a deep understanding of who you truly are. Rule 10. Cultivate a long-term vision, so every step has direction and meaning. People often overestimate what they can accomplish in a single day, yet deeply underestimate what they can achieve in 5 years. They chase what is immediate, quick rewards, instant results, and then feel disappointed when life does not change at the pace they desire. But life does not move by haste. It unfolds in seasons, in stages, through small but steady steps. And only those with long-term vision reach the place they truly deserve. Long-term vision allows you to see beyond the present moment. When difficulty arises, those without vision see only pain, while those with vision see a part of the journey. When failure occurs, those without vision see an ending, while those with vision see an adjustment. When progress is slower than expected, those without vision grow discouraged, while those with vision remain steady, because they understand that everything enduring requires time to mature. Vision not only guides direction, it cultivates patience. One of the greatest mistakes in life is living by temporary emotion. Emotion causes you to change direction constantly, believing today that one path is right, only to abandon it tomorrow for another. A person who lives this way is like a dry leaf carried by the wind, without roots, without purpose, without stability. But when you hold a long-term vision, you are no longer easily pulled by emotion. You know why you are doing what you are doing. You know where your path leads. And you know what must be sustained, even when your feelings waver. Long-term vision also helps you distinguish what matters from what does not. When you know where you are going, you do not waste time on distractions. You say no to temptation more easily, because you understand that the cost of distraction is often greater than it appears. Praise and criticism lose their power over you, because you are walking your own path, a path whose value only you fully understand. When you live with long-term vision, you move slowly but securely, and that steadiness brings you to your destination more safely than any rush ever could. Those with long-term vision never demand immediate results. They build themselves gradually, like a farmer sowing seeds. They know that every effort today is a seed planted, every day of persistence is an act of watering, and one day, when conditions are right, the seed will grow. They do not doubt the process. They only remain patient enough to let it unfold. And it is this patience that separates those who mature from those who give up. Long-term vision also allows you to remain calm amid change. You no longer panic when life shifts direction. You no longer fear trials, because you understand that every difficulty is part of the process. Those who see far do not judge a rainy day, they think of the harvest. They are not troubled by small obstacles, they focus on the greater aim. And because of this, they maintain inner stability, something those without vision rarely achieve. Most importantly, long-term vision gives life meaning. When you know what you are building, every step carries purpose. You no longer live each day merely to pass time. You live to move closer to a better version of yourself. And that sense of meaning becomes the energy that lifts you on tired days, carries you through discouragement, and keeps you steady even when results have not yet appeared. Remember this. Every great journey begins with a vision. Vision is the lighthouse that never goes dark, the force that keeps you from losing direction in the vast sea of life. When you hold a long-term vision, every hardship becomes a lesson, every failure becomes a stepping stone, and every effort becomes worthwhile. Your life will change, not through brief moments of greatness, but through steady devotion to what you truly believe in. And when you remain committed long enough, you will discover that long-term vision does not only carry you far. It also leads you back to the deepest and most authentic version of who you truly are.